You're listening to episode 7 of the Healthy Dudes podcast.
Welcome to our podcast. That's Anthony. I'm Tyler.
And we're just a couple of dudes talking about healthy men stuff and accountability, and this is our intro.
Yeah. Join us on our journey, the lessons that we learned along the way, and maybe this will inspire you, get you moving in the right direction.
Welcome back to the podcast. Last week we had Jesse.
Yeah.
We were super excited to talk about finances.
So good.
I love talking about finances. It's such an important part of a man's life.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are very passive about it. A lot of people are very obsessive about it. So there's like two types of ways you could be unhealthy about it. But
right.
What is a healthy dude? What does a healthy dude look like when they're dealing with finances? So yeah, listen to the last episode. It was a good one. We really appreciate having Jesse on the show.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you want to talk about last week, your goals?
Yeah, last week. I'm trying to remember what my goal was. That's awkward.
Wasn't it ice baths?
It was ice baths. It was the week before. Last week I was trying to get over to the park to eat my lunches.
Oh yeah. How did that go?
Huge negative on that. Also with cold plunges the week before that. So I'm on a bit of a down streak right now.
Yeah.
How to be unhealthy. Welcome to the Healthy Dudes.
Yeah. We're just doing our best.
Just a couple ordinary guys trying to be healthy.
Yeah. I did talk to one coworker. He found the podcast online. We'll call him Dave. That may or may not be his real name. But he encouraged me. He said, "Hey, don't be too hard on yourself," because I was really beating myself up about not going to the gym. And he says, you're really healthy in a lot of other areas. And I did appreciate that. I do still think that I got to improve in some areas, but I really did appreciate his comment, and thanks for listening.
Yeah.
He gave me a lot of encouragement, but we're trying to improve 1% every day. Talking about going to the gym, I also didn't go to the gym, but I did exercise once.
Right. Pickleball?
Pickleball.
Yeah. I was there for that.
Yeah.
Witness.
I beat you.
Yeah, you did. That was a great game though.
Yeah, a lady named Pam.
Yeah.
I don't know how old she was, but she was great.
Yeah.
And
shout out to Pam.
Yeah.
Or whatever her name is.
That was a fun game. And
yeah,
I
was
broke
good.
a sweat. You don't break a lot of you don't break a lot of sweats when you play pickleball.
Not in doubles.
Not in doubles, but this time we did.
Nice work.
Yeah. And but I stayed under 2,000 calories with the exception of maybe one day.
Nice.
Or 2 days.
That's good.
And it was good. I weighed myself. I'm doing a weekly weigh-in, and I'm down 7 pounds.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I am. I mean, I was a little bit bloated when I weighed myself 3 weeks ago, but I'm down 7 pounds in 3 weeks. And
dude, that's amazing.
I'm not trying to be like crazy strict. I'm trying to, again, like I read the book, an emotional eating, like detox.
Yeah.
And they just talk about like mindful eating and how you're supposed to listen to your body. And I really feel like, again, I've like figured it out, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'm just like super excited about this. And
it's good, man.
Yeah, I'm dropping weight steadily, and I'm still eating what I want. I'm just like eating less of it. Like
today
that's good
portions. Hey,
yeah,
good for you.
Yeah,
are you still tracking calories? Sounds like it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep my thumb on it. Yesterday we had like this chow mein, and I tracked my calories after I ate it, and it was like 1,000 calories. Oh, that was brutal.
That hurts.
Have you heard of crumble cookies? We haven't talked about it on this podcast.
Yes.
Okay, so we
had crumble cookies together, didn't we? Am I thinking the right place?
Yeah. We did.
Yeah.
So, but before that, I was tracking my calories, and the second location in Canada, the second crumble location, came to Airdrie, where we live.
Yeah. Like right by where we live.
Yeah. And so I went there. The lineup's been so long, but there was finally a stop
break.
in the line. And I went in and I got some for my mom. She was taking care of my kids and my kid. And I had a cookie, 1.5 cookies. And then I tracked it after. But you know how many calories are in there.
I don't want to know, actually, but a lot.
No, but it was 1,100 calories in 1.5 cookies.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
That like
a whole what was it you eat yesterday? Chow mein?
Chow mein. I had quite a big portion of it.
All that in one cookie.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was, I don't know how you can even get that many calories into one cookie.
Sugar. Wow. They
You
pack
think
it
it's sugar?
in. They
I
just
think
pack it in.
Someone said it's lard. They put lard in
Oh,
it.
yeah, the fat or whatever.
It tasted good. Like whatever they put in there. Crumble
Crazy.
cookies. They know what's going on.
Shout out to Crumble Cookies.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was doing pretty good on my goals. And yeah, stayed pretty clean.
Nice.
There was one day where I was on TikTok and I was like pretty, I was pretty weak. But other than that, it's been really good. It's been a good month. It's been a good 6 weeks since we started. So,
yeah, good for you, man.
Yeah, we're all about progress over perfection, as Tyler likes to say.
That's right.
So yeah, we just keep on getting 1% better.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I had a good week too. My work though, it took me away for one night, so that was a struggle, but it was a quick night, so I was able to just go to sleep and then woke up, came home, so that was good to go again. So
amazing.
Yeah, it was good.
Awesome. I had someone from who listens to this podcast reach out to me. His name is John. I spoke with him on the phone last night, and he was just talking about he has an organization called Seeds of Hope Children's Ministry. Wow. And so he talked about this orphanage, and I'm going to paraphrase everything. So if I get it wrong, John, sorry. And we would love to have you on our show one day.
Can't wait.
He has an incredible story.
Wow.
So I guess orphanage reached out to him saying that they need some money, and because they were dealing with HIV in the 90s. Is that what was going around then? Yeah. And he said that a lot of babies were just dying because no one would touch them and no one would they died from neglect. And
no.
That broke my heart because I have a kid and I couldn't imagine her just not being held, not being touched, not being loved.
No kidding.
And there's kids out there that are not being touched, not being loved, and are dying. And
wow.
And he now has an organization in Zambia where he bought some land and he's he's growing the community there in Zambia.
Wow.
And it's really cool what he's doing. He's kind of taking a holistic approach where he's teaching these people that you don't need to have a poverty mindset.
Oh, that's good.
And he's kind of building the nation through this organization.
Wow.
And I loved his story. And I love what he's doing there.
Seeds of Hope. That's amazing.
Seeds of Hope, yeah.
Love that.
So that actually kind of inspired this episode about mindset.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about mindset.
Yeah.
And
first thing I do when we pick a topic, I got to go look up the definition. Maybe that's just the way I'm wired, but let's define it. The definition of mindset according to Google, which is always accurate.
Totally.
It's the established set of attitudes held by someone. So then I had to Google what attitudes meant. An attitude is a settled way of thinking or feeling about someone or something, typically one that is reflected in a person's behavior. Yeah. So that was helpful for me just to try to get a grasp on what we're dealing with. So,
okay.
And I found there was 4 types of attitudes when I did a little more research on this one.
Yeah.
You can have a positive attitude. I think everyone's heard of that. Obviously, a negative attitude. Everyone's heard of that. And then the other one that's kind of interesting is explicit and implicit. So you can have a positive attitude about something that's very explicit, which means it's presenting well. So people can see that you have a positive attitude. But then you might have say a negative attitude about something that's implicit. So, I would say, when I was thinking about that, it would be someone who's overly critical about themselves inwardly. So, outwardly someone wouldn't say this person, is a negative self-talker or anything like that. They never hear this person complaining.
Right.
But then when they get alone, they kind of get in their head and that negative self-talk is buried inside there somewhere. So
really?
I thought that was kind of interesting. So
where do you put yourself?
I think if someone a stranger or any of my friends were to describe me, they would probably put me on that positive mindset.
I would.
And and we'll get to it too, but I think that's just my personality, which is the achiever, the number 3 on the Enneagram, if you're into the Enneagram stuff. But for my personality type, that kind of outward presentation is quite important to me. I'm basically driven by success. So I want to always appear as though I'm winning and achieving things and I'm successful. So someone looking at me would be oh yeah, this guy has a positive mindset. But then I think I do have some negative self-talk that is happening inside my head. And even some of it, like, explicit, they actually said is kind of more conscious, things that you're aware of. And then implicit is things that you're kind of like unconscious about. So like I've been doing some self-reflecting. We'll talk about this at some point, but some of the things I think when I get, I get motivated out of like a negative place without even really realizing it. So simple example, Anthony and his wife there, we were talking about like who's cleaner in the relationship, right? You remember this conversation?
Oh yeah.
And I was saying, yeah, I'm the cleaner one in my relationship between Bree and I. She would probably debate that. Mm-hmm. But the funny thing about it is I said the only reason I think I'm a cleaner person is because I have this like deep-seated insecurity about like when people come over, I need the house to like look good or like look presentable. If my parents are coming down, it's like I gotta look like I have it kind of all together. So like I'm a cleaner person, but that's only really because I'm a more insecure person. Versus Bree's like, well, these people are still gonna love us no matter what. They're not gonna judge us if our house isn't perfect. They know that we have kids, whether it's my parents or like we're having friends over, or whatever it is, right? So Bree is more okay with the place not being perfectly tidy because she's secure in who she is and the relationships that we have. So, yeah.
Wow.
How about you? What do you got on mindsets?
I feel like I'm kind of, I have a little bit to say on mindsets, but to talk on your point, I feel like I'm a little bit the opposite where I can outwardly express like how I'm feeling, I guess. And it's not so much internal. I remember like, I would always like, I would always like look in the mirror and I actually wrote this down. I would always call myself like fat, stupid, and ugly. Like, and I know that's kind of like a sad thing to say, but it's like, I believed it. Like I was always like overweight in my life. And I never did well in school. Like I went to electrical school. I'm a journeyman electrician. And I remember I would study like really hard and I would barely get, I would barely pass. So passing was 70%.
Yeah.
And so first year I got 69% and then they bumped me because I had good attendance. And second year I got 69% and they bumped me because I had a good attendance.
Nice.
Third year I got 68% and they bumped me.
Wow.
And fourth year I actually like really, really tried and I got like 74%.
Nice. There you go.
So I
that
really,
sounds like a 70% average to me if you ran those numbers.
I was pretty young going through it. I didn't really know what was going on. But whatever. I never really did well in school. So I always thought myself as like stupid. And my brother was like so smart. He's an engineer. He's a pilot. He's always done better than me. And I always played on his soccer team, but it was, my dad didn't like to like drive to two places. So I would always move up to play on his team.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I was just the bench warmer on the team and my brother was like the superstar. Sometimes I would do okay in some seasons and then we'd move up and then I'd do bad again.
Yeah.
And I remember one time we were playing in the city finals and, I remember we drove like 3.5 hours to make the city finals. And I remember my dad, he was a coach. He like looked back at me. We were like winning 2-1. It was like right near the end of the game, just in time to put your subs in. And he looks at me and he's like, sorry, you're not going on.
Oh man.
That's all good. I still took my gold medal and
yeah, you did. Amazing.
It's somewhere out there. And, so
that's a tough memory, man.
It is.
My heart breaks for you.
It's kind of a funny memory. And
I don't know if it's better or worse that it was your dad. Probably worse.
Actually, it's probably
pretty
better.
cool. He was coaching you.
Yeah. He was a great coach, and I did score. I did have fun, and you know what? To be honest with you, I was like, I don't even want to go because I'm gonna mess up, and then this whole like championship's gonna be on me. No, it's all good. Like just
that's so funny.
Stay out there, tired players. It's all good. I'll just
that's
cheer
amazing.
You on from the bench. So I did some Googling as well, and
what'd you get?
There's a difference between. There's a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. And I wanted to ask some questions to our audience, which is growing, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Not to like boast. That's a little boastful, isn't it?
I suppose it would be.
Okay.
It's factually accurate though.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah.
But I said it in such a boastful way. Anyways. So here's a litmus test for you. So do you have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? So here are some statements that a fixed mindset might say. I want to avoid mistakes. I wanted to stay on the bench so that I wouldn't make any mistakes. I can't do this. I can't go onto the field and score a goal.
I see where this is going.
My family has never graduated from school, so neither will I. I think that's a big struggle for a lot of people. I will always be addicted to porn. I've said that to myself a lot. I will always be fat. I'm stupid and I'm ugly. And I'll never get a girlfriend. You might be thinking that if you're listening to this. But a growth mindset is I can learn from my mistakes. I can't do this yet.
That's good.
I'm not my family. I can overcome anything. And when someone criticizes you, you say, "Oh, thank you for your feedback."
That's
Sometimes when people like give me criticism, I find like I try to personally attack them. It's like this really messed up thing that I do. I try to find the flaw in them.
Right.
And then sometimes I'll even like go to other people and try to get them on my side. It's a really it's a really bad thing that I do that I'm working through. But and the fifth one that I wrote down is I'm inspired by others. So there's a lot of people in my life that are doing better than me in some areas, and and I find it almost like a threat. And
totally.
I should be inspired by them, and I should be excited for them, and I should strive for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about our mindsets. And let's talk about mindsets and what mindsets have shaped, how our mindset have shaped our lives.
Yeah.
Do you have a story?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like growing up, like a positive attitude was like always encouraged. You know, it was just a big part of like growing up in my house, and my parents obviously were the main drivers behind that. Just simple things like we weren't allowed. You just mentioned maybe this. Like you would call yourself stupid or whatever.
Yeah.
We weren't even allowed to use the word stupid. Like
really?
That was like, we had to say silly. If there was ever like a time when you wanted to say like, this is stupid, you would say this is silly. Yeah. So it was like, so that's kind of like the extremes of it. And we weren't allowed to say things like hate either. Like it was such like a, like, just don't say it. It was almost like a curse word kind of growing up. Right.
They're pretty extreme words.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah. So I think that was like helpful. I think like our vocabulary around things can help shape attitudes, and then the mindset kind of comes out of that, you know. And then growing up, I was very like achievement oriented, so that really kind of morphed the personality that I am, which is the achiever, which is the Enneagram 3, right? And then one thing that does come up would be like teasing. That was like a form of like basically a love language in my house. Like we would kind of like give each other a hard time if something came up or whatever it was, right? But it was like meant in like a loving way, not in like a ridiculing way. So it's an interesting kind of paradox, because like you say, like, you know, how do you respond to feedback, you know?
Right.
But having like, I grew up with 3 siblings, and we're always teasing each other. So part of that is kind of like poking fun really at your insecurities, or poking fun at, some flaws. That's kind of like what teasing would really be, but in a way that like, I guess you just get used to hearing that. And so maybe that makes you a more secure person, or like helps you embrace those flaws, I guess. But I know like when I first, started dating my wife now, I would, I was falling in love with her, I guess. So like, I would tease her, and, she came from a different type of an environment where like sometimes that teasing was perceived as, ridiculing or kind of like humiliating type of a thing, right? Which obviously wasn't the intention with what I was doing. I was just interacting with her, same way I did with my siblings and my parents. But yeah. So that's an interesting thing where, I don't know how you distinguish that in a way that like it goes from being teasing to being like, more genuine. But I remember I grew up, I was in Air Cadets when I was growing up. We had these things, it was called the attitude checks. And so you're always trying to get, like, we call it the esprit de corps. So like getting the morale of everybody up, you know? And one of these events, it happened at this camp that we were at, and it was a freezing cold morning, and we would go on this great big long jog, and we were doing these attitude checks as we go along. And anyways, over the course of the day, I was interacting with these other air cadets, and it was much of that same kind of banter, teasing kind of thing that we were doing with my siblings. And I remember one of the officers, which would be like one of the adult leaders, he said to me, hey, he wanted to check and basically make sure that I wasn't feeling, because I was doing that thing where, like, you know, I would never let anybody in and know that, you know, this was starting to hurt my feelings or whatever. So he checked in and says, hey, is this teasing getting like too much for you, or how are you doing? So I thought that was very emotionally intelligent of that leader, you know, which I totally appreciated. And to this day, I always say this with guys, like, it's kind of really how a lot of guys will bond, where we're always kind of like poking fun at each other and like got that banter going, that type of thing. But like, you know, in my experience, a lot of men won't like put their hand up and be like, hey guys, like that one kind of hit a little close to home. And like, that's something I've really struggled with in the past. And like, you know, I appreciate it if you guys just kind of let up a little bit. A lot of guys wouldn't be vulnerable like that with other guys, you know. It's just like thick skin, and nothing can shake my confidence. You know what I said? So it's like, I think as guys, we have to have that kind of emotional intelligence to know, hey, is this hurting my wife's feelings? Is this hurting my buddy's feelings if I'm trying to bond with them in this way? So,
right. Yeah. Do you think that like teasing people and poking fun is kind of like hiding like your insecurities? Or do you think some people would like tease in a healthy way? So I think of like maybe some people that I know, they tease just to like shine the spotlight somewhere else. Do you think that could be it? Yeah,
almost like kind of like a projecting thing.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely possible. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So maybe you just got to like look within yourself, like why, what is the reason why?
Yeah, that's good.
I'm doing this. And even like back to my mindfulness eating, I think of when I'm like tempted to look at porn online, I think of like, why am I looking at that? What's going on inside? And am I deprived of something else?
Right.
And when I'm eating, I mean, I've only been doing this a couple of weeks, but it's down 7 pounds, so it's working.
Yeah.
But like I even today I was like, I'm just going to have an extra piece of French toast. And I was like, well, you know, I'm full. I'm satisfied. I've scratched the itch of like a nice sweet breakfast, and I had like a modest amount. It was 2 pieces. It was great.
Yeah.
And like, but why did I want more?
Yeah.
And it's because like I wanted to feel good. Like eating when I get full, like, it feels good.
Yeah.
But like I should be content with who I am. Like, like I'm trying to fill a void. And even when I want to look at porn, I want to fill a void of maybe I'm not being filled emotionally somewhere else.
Right.
And you just got to like look deep down. And
that's
I guess
good.
That's kind of a great, that works a lot. That works well. What am I trying to say here? With mindset, something with my.
Yeah. Well, and actually that's funny because at the end we were talking about like how to get started with practicing self-awareness, changing your mindset.
Yeah.
But you just touched on that. So I'm going to jump there. We can come back. But one thing we said is like when you shift to a negative mindset, reflect on the underlying driver.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that's what you're getting at, but like, why did you respond or react that way? So like when your wife was asking about this and that got you all defensive, why did you go to that place, you know? So
yeah, like that's great.
And I wrote down here, like, is it like insecurity or is it fear? So like for me, you know, struggling with kind of that poverty mindset that there's only so much to go around. If like I have food on the table in front of me, I'll just eat it all.
Yeah.
Cause I'm like, I don't know where my next meal is going to come from, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Living in Canada.
Living in Canada, like it's, you know, we're so blessed here. Right. But, I don't know where that comes from, but it's just kind of that, or like sometimes I have like anxiety and, I'm just like, kind of like what you're talking about with the porn, but like really what I need to do is like my mind is anxiously running and I just need to like shut that mind off. And so I go to something that like takes all my attention or like helps that part of my mind like shut off, So like it would be just as effective to go play a game of pickleball, but it's harder to access pickleball because I got to text people and get people out, and it's going to happen like instantly, and it probably won't happen tonight or even tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But like this other thing is available like right here, right now. But like what's driving me towards that type of mindset, I guess, would be like that underlying anxiety that I'm feeling. Right.
Yeah. That's so good. Today, so when we were making French toast, my wife wanted to make a blueberry sauce. I was like, what is even a blueberry sauce? We've never made a blueberry sauce before. And I was kind of like pissed off. Like, why do you want to do this? And I really think that we ended up making the blueberry sauce, but
okay. Good.
It was,
how was it?
It was really good. I put a little bit of like whipping cream.
Nice.
And some butter. And it was just like good. It wasn't too sweet. It was delicious.
Nice.
But
we'll
it was
put
like
the recipe in the show notes.
Yeah. ChatGPT.
There it is.
That's a life hack. I just said, make me a blueberry sauce for French toast.
Wow.
And it just like was great.
Wow. So good.
And anyways, but it was because I just wanted to control the situation.
Yeah.
Like I want to I don't like, I already had an idea of what I wanted to do. And then my wife came in and was like, no, can we do this? And like, instead of saying like, okay, I like had to like have a bit of a fit. And it was just, it was brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk about my my family tree, I guess.
Yeah, break it down.
So my family a lot of them are actually, probably all of them are overweight. They're working on it. My dad has lost quite a bit of weight and he's kept it off. He's done a really good job.
That's so good.
It was like this running joke that my last name is Morvillo, and they said, oh, it's a Morvillo thing. We would go to Toronto and we would hang out with them, and we would go to an all-you-can-eat buffet, and we would just like gouge ourselves. Or when we would have like dinners together, we would just eat and eat and eat. Wow. And there was like a piece of cake, and somebody was like, oh, no, it's okay. And then everyone would tease them. Oh, come on, it's a Morvillo thing. Like, it's part of our family tree. And
wow.
And it's kind of funny, but like it's super unhealthy. Like I was, someone made a video and they said, how many 100-year-olds are overweight? 0. They're all dead. and
wow.
I don't know if that's actually true, but I haven't seen many like really big like 100-year-olds.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I want to live to 100, but I do want a healthier life. And I look back to my grandparents, and they were a bit overweight. But like before that they weren't. And before that they weren't. Like it's not a Morvillo thing. It's just
right.
I think they came in, they were immigrants to this country, and they just like they might have come from a poverty mindset, and I don't know exactly why they do what they do, but it's like a funny thing, and I don't love that. Yeah, and I want to break that off of my family line, and we don't have to just say like, oh, it's just what we do.
Right, that's good, man. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
We want to work through that. Our minds like have a very powerful role in our lives.
Amen.
And there was this story that I was thinking of. There was a bunch of maids in a hotel, and a lot of them in the United States are overweight, are really unhealthy. So what this group of people did, they did a big study on like, I think they did like 200 of them, and they split them in two. Okay. So at the beginning, they kind of monitored their steps and their activity, and they told the first 100 maids. Do you call them maids or housekeepers? Maybe not maids.
Yeah, housekeeping sounds good.
Yeah, the housekeepers, and they said to these 100 housekeepers like, hey, you guys are actually being really active, like taking over 10,000 steps a day, moving your body all day. That's really good for you. Yeah. And then they didn't do that to the other 100, and then like 2 months later, they came back, and the 100 people who they told that they were very healthy were actually like they were losing weight. Wow. They all their like their health. They did a big like health test on them. And they were all like much healthier than the other 100 people. Yeah. So it is like a mindset thing.
Wow.
Yeah. It was incredible. Awesome. It was a pretty cool story.
I love that.
Yeah. So anyways, we have a call to action here.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we want to do this?
Yeah. Let's just read it out.
Okay. Do you want to read it?
Yeah. You may have a fixed mindset or a poor mindset. So what does one do? One powerful thing someone can do to change their mindset is to practice self-awareness. Self-awareness involves paying close attention to your thoughts, feelings, and reactions in different situations. And by becoming more aware of your internal dialogue and emotional responses, you can start to identify patterns of thinking and beliefs that might be holding you back. Yeah. And here's how to get started with practicing self-awareness to change your mindset. First thing we wrote down here was challenge your thoughts and be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
Patience, I think, is pretty key there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Like you're not going to get, when I try to lose weight, I want to see like 15
just
pounds
melting
off.
off. Yeah. Just melting off.
And everybody who's like overweight and has lost weight, they know it's coming back. Like, probably like
right.
There's like a 95% chance of it coming back. So like why not just like take it slow?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like if I lose, like, I know I'm like 7 pounds in 3 weeks. That's pretty good. But like,
dude, that's amazing.
What if it's like 1 pound a week?
Yeah.
That's like, that's
amazing.
I would be devastated if I saw 1 pound next week.
Yeah.
But you say I did it for a whole year.
Yeah.
That's
52 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And then now I'm all of a sudden at like my goal weight.
Yeah.
Like it could be a life-changing thing if I just kept at it. Or say one thing that I have worked on in the last couple of years is my patience itself is I would find myself I would snap at my wife or if someone was ticking me off.
Yeah.
But like now I'm just like every time I'm in a stressful situation, I just like try to slow down and just and it's worked and that's something that I'm working on. And I was talking with John yesterday about and he was talking about how we can have an abundance of in life, and he said he talks about like how we can work on our finances, and then next year work on something else, and then the year after that work on something else, and then all of a sudden in 10 years you're a completely different person. Totally. Someone said, and maybe you can like I'm paraphrasing here, but someone said we underestimate what we can do in the short term.
That's right.
But we overestimate what we can do in the short term, but underestimate what we can do in the in the long term.
Yeah, isn't that so true?
Yeah.
I'm a believer in that. Yeah, I think that patience thing is key, you know. So everyone said that quote that like, you know, a year from now you wish you would have started a year ago. And you were just talking about like gaining weight. And I was talking to somebody once about like alcoholism. Yeah. And it's like an insidious thing where it's just like a slow thing of like 1 year you're having like a beer a week, and then next year you have 2 beers a week, and then next thing you know you're having a beer every other night, and then after that you're having a beer every time you get home from work, and then next thing you wake up and you're having like a case of beer every night, and you're, you know, identifying as a potential alcoholic type of thing, right? At that point. And the same thing with like gaining weight, where like you don't typically go from like a normal weight to like 100 pounds overweight overnight, obviously, right? So it's like 1 year you gain 5 pounds, the next 20 pounds. The year after that, you might lose a couple pounds. And then the year after that, you gain back 15 pounds. And then, you know, you fast forward 8 years and all of a sudden, like you're 50 pounds overweight. So the same thing can happen the opposite way. Same thing with finances or like any part of your life that you're trying to get healthier in is like, oh, hey, you know, we went a little bit off the rails on our finances, and then we tightened up for here 10 months basically. And now we're feeling like we're right back in it, you know? So, and for some people that might be like 2 or 3 years, but it's that, what we said, progress over perfection, right? Just keep moving that needle.
Exactly. So, and the progress over perfection, is like, I just think about my kid. If I can say it takes like 15 years to get something nailed down. Now she might not necessarily have to struggle with the same things that I had to struggle with.
That's right.
So
you have a template, right, that you can help other people with. And and if you can do that with your own kids or your good friends, that's amazing.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So, like my dad was like okay with finances. He was like never in debt or anything like that. But like he taught me what to do with my money. He was like, no, like I will remember I wanted to buy a truck so bad. Yeah. And did I share this? No, I don't think I did. I wanted to buy a truck so bad. I was working out of town and everyone's like, just go buy a truck. It's going to be awesome. And I was like, yeah, maybe I should. And then he took me to show homes and he's like, no, you should buy this house. And so I bought the house. And, and some people would say he like forced me, but I'm so glad he did, because
incredible.
It changed my wife and I, our life financially.
Trajectory of life. Yeah. Amazing, man.
And if I can do that with Lola, with more the things that I've learned, she's going to be better off as well.
That's right. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Another thing we had just to help get started with practicing self-awareness is, it sounds obvious, but like reflect. And so maybe like at the end of the day, just reflect back on the day and be like, hey, how was my mindset today? Was I positive for the most part? Was I negative? When I got negative, was it like when I got hungry, when I got tired? Was it when we were trying to get out of the house and get on the road? That happened today. I got a little cranky, which will happen. And also like, I use this example, but like there's this study around like pilots, and when pilots get like really tired and then they have to decide if they like will cancel a flight or if they'll like continue on, if they're like, alert enough to be able to do the flight. But it's a funny thing because you're trying to judge whether or not you're impaired, but your judgment might be impaired as you're making that judgment call,
Right.
So you're sitting there with like, say a negative mindset, and you're trying to decide if you have a negative mindset, or you're sitting there with a positive mindset, trying to figure out if sometimes just asking other people for feedback. Like you mentioned that at the top is like, that vulnerability of like when someone gives you feedback, just saying, hey, thank you for that feedback. The next step I would say after that would be like soliciting that feedback, and not in like an insecure way, but like even something simple like today, I was like reflecting, hey, do I have a positive mindset or do I have a negative mindset? And I said, I think generally people would say I have a positive mindset. And you said, I would describe you as somebody with a positive mindset, so that would be kind of good feedback, so
absolutely
kind of gets that outside opinion, just to see what that looks like.
100%. I want to say one thing there. There's people that enter a room and they leave it better than it was, or worse than it was. And And there's people in my life that I can say, like, when they come into a room, it's like you're excited. You're happy to have them.
Hey?
You're excited to see them. And maybe that's the extrovert in me.
Yeah.
But there's people that when they walk into a room, I'm like, get me out of here. I can't stand this. Or like, I'm just like.
It's only been an hour, man.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Yeah. That energy can be contagious for sure.
Totally.
Yeah. Especially that, what we call the explicit, positive attitude of like, oh, hey, this guy's bringing life to the party.
Yeah. You bring life into a room, and I want to be that person. I want to like ask questions about people's lives.
Yeah.
And there's people that like, I took some time off on vacation. I went to my sister's wedding. I did a bunch of things in July, and some people just like never even asked me, hey, how was like your time off? And I read in this book that people don't actually care about how your vacation was.
Right.
I can't remember which book it was.
Yeah.
Maybe I can't remember which book it was, but they said no one actually cares. They're just being polite. But like, just be polite.
Small talk, right?
Yeah.
Like, be polite. Like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Okay,
it's just a filler. Yeah.
Can't stand it. Anyways, ask yourself, are you bringing energy into a room, or are you sucking it out?
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know what that has to do with mindset, but I'm sure it does something.
Yeah.
I'm sure it has something to do with it.
Well, it's an interesting thing. I didn't touch on this, but I did have it in my show notes here. But with this achievement personality that I talked about, that's one thing I can fall into the trap of like, I project this like image, and then I get so wrapped up in like keeping up this facade around me. But like, it's totally separate. Cognitive dissonance, I guess, would be one of the terms to describe that. It's totally separate from how I'm actually, so it's not actually like genuine anymore. And that's where like you can fall into depression, because like your body is like, this doesn't make sense that you're trying to like be amped up and energetic, but like your mind is telling you that you need to rest or like take some time to, recharge type of a thing. So, but I do think that like, it's that, scripturally that would be like you reap what you sow. But I think there's like a certain element of like, some people call it like fake it till you make it, but like, kind of like I was saying with my parents with like the words and like what we're allowed to speak, that would be like the tongue has the power of life and death. But like, I think that can kind of lead you, if you have like that negative mindset, whether it's explicit or implicit. But if you start to like, I don't want to tell people to like fake it or like
Yeah.
But you know what I'm trying to say here, where like you need to like shift your mindset. You need to shift your mindset. So how do you go about doing that? And I would say look for those opportunities and like try to get that. And once maybe you get that sense of what that feels like or what that looks like, more will come if you kind of like go in that way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you can articulate that better than what I'm trying to describe.
I think you're saying fake it till you make it without saying fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I think there's times where we can get into a rut where it's like, I just want to feel like crap and we don't want to get out of that, but we have to kind of like, all right, I'm just going to be positive.
Yeah.
I'm going to, and
okay.
I feel
That's
like
good.
You ever hear the saying sleep begets sleep?
Yeah.
I don't even know what the word beget means, but it like brings on more sleep.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Google.
So like when my baby sleeps well, she sleeps more and she sleeps better. But when she doesn't sleep well, she sleeps
worse.
Yeah. It's weird. Like you'd think you'd sleep more, and it's just like,
that is counterintuitive. Brie and I fought about that a lot. I'm like, why don't we just keep the kids up? Like wake them up at 5 a.m, keep them up all day. They have to go to bed at 9. She's like, it doesn't work that way.
Well, they will go to bed at 9, but then they'll just have a crappier sleep at night.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, at some point they'll just like collapse from exhaustion.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's not good parenting.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say this too. Like sex begets sex with your partner.
There you go.
When you go into like a rut, maybe I shouldn't be talking. No, I don't think Candace cares. But when we're more intimate, we're intimate more.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so if you're positive more, you're gonna be positive.
Yeah,
more.
Yeah.
And it's just like so when you're in a tough spot, I would say just like you got to just break that rut somehow.
Yeah, that's good.
Like even if you have to fake it a little bit.
Yeah. I had someone once tell me he was trying to get me into like one of those Amway type groups, peer to peer.
Have you ever done
marketing or
have
whatever?
You ever done?
I went to like a conference and like everyone's all stoked and excited at this conference, right? And I was like, I don't think this is really for me, But the guy was trying to get me into this. He said that to me where he's like, hey man, like I think you're really excited, but like you don't really outwardly show that very well, which, is kind of an interesting piece of feedback, really, But like I think I have this like even keel kind of idea where like I'm just going to ride along and nothing really gets me down and nothing really gets me up. You know what I mean? But like that can shift into what I've called like the high school mentality. I see this at my workplace right now where like, no one wants to be that guy who like thinks the company is good. Everyone like is making fun of the company and like all the decisions that the leaders are making and stuff like that. And if you're the guy who's like, yeah, no, I think things are moving along here. Actually, I think, the working conditions are pretty good. It's like everyone makes fun of you. Yeah. But I call that the high school mentality where it's like, you're making fun of the kid who's like actually studying and like a try hard. You know what I mean?
Right.
High school, 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, they go back to high school or whatever. And he's like, the key is you got to like not care about anything. And you got to make fun of people who care about anything. And you got to drive a cool car. That's the key to being like cool in high school, right? Wow. And like, but how do you break out of that mindset where like, and that's what I'm saying is like, it's not like faking it, but like analyze it and just be like, hey, am I actually excited about this? Well, why don't I like get excited about this? Right. So
yeah. That's
or like we talk about that with the podcast where like here we're like a little bit not embarrassed, but like it is kind of funny to put your heart on your sleeve in a recorded place. And then like your friends, like my sister watched it and some of my friends are watching it and stuff like that. And they get to see all that stuff. It's a very vulnerable type of a position,
Absolutely.
But it's like, no, this is actually really cool what we're doing. We're trying to help men become healthier, like why can't I be proud of that? But like, I'm afraid that someone's going to like
make fun of me.
Yeah.
100%.
Isn't that funny? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I got to get out of that mindset. Cause like everybody who listens to it is like, no, it's great. It's awesome. It's awesome. And if there's like that one person who like tries to put you down, it's like, okay, well, thanks for the feedback.
That's so good. Yeah, I work at my work too. It's like a high school thing. It's just like it's the thing to do. Just talk poorly about management. And sure, maybe management could do better, but it's like it's not really our place. Yeah, and it's like that's what we do. It's just talk poorly about people, and I hate it.
Yeah,
but anyways, pyramid schemes. I have joined a pyramid scheme once.
Oh, nice.
I'm a pyramid person, and then
that'll happen.
My parents didn't sign up, and then I quit.
Nice.
I spent like $600. It was called ACN.
Oh yeah, that sounds like this one that I was trying to get into. Something network.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And Donald Trump endorsed it.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, if it was a pyramid scheme, why would Donald Trump endorse
Yeah, that's
this?
right. Yeah, that's right.
ACN. Oh. And then this guy from Quebec kept calling me, hey, come on, like, if your parents can't even join the what are you even doing? And it was brutal.
Yeah.
But, yeah, pyramid schemes. If you're in a pyramid scheme, keep doing what you're doing. just kidding. I don't know.
No, actually, don't do it.
There's some people who make money on it.
It's true.
I went to so we should probably end this podcast, but I'll share the story. We went to this one house for a charity concert, and it was beautiful. It overlooked downtown, and it was like it had to have been a $4 million house or something. And and I was like, at the end of the concert, I said, "What do these people do for work?"
Yeah,
and they said, "Oh, it's Amway."
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and they said they started Amway in South Africa. And they just did really well.
Amazing.
So there are some people who do it.
Yeah.
So, but most people don't make it.
Yeah.
Like me, you, my parents, and everyone else who's joined a pyramid scheme. Anyways.
Okay, that took a weird shift. But we're back.
Yeah.
Okay, goals for the next week.
Yeah.
What are you working on, Anthony?
Again, 2,000 calories.
Nice.
I'm going to try to stay there. Mindful eating.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to stay clean, and I'm going to try to hit the gym. I will try to hit the gym. One thing I'll say this about mindset. So recently I've been trying to switch my shift that I've been on. I'm kind of working some night shifts. I want to go back to Monday to Friday. And my boss kind of said, no, probably not going to happen. And my mindset the whole time was, okay, I'm going to start being healthy when I go back to Monday to Friday. I'm going to, you know, start caring about my job more when I go back to Monday to Friday.
Gotcha.
But why can't I just, care about the people I work with now? Why can't I care about my job now? And why can't I be healthy now? Like it is a little bit harder because there's not a lot of routine. Yeah. But I can have a good mindset about the job that I have. Yeah. The job that I have right now. And it is such a good job. So
yeah, that's amazing.
I just got to switch my mindset.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Anyways, so those are my goals. I'm reading, almost done, Die with Zero. I'm very close to finishing that book. Yeah. And I'm halfway through my 2 library books. Nice. And I've been
You should have a library date. Meet up at the library and rent some books. It sounds totally cool. Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Okay. Okay, moving right along.
Okay, what are your goals?
Yeah, every time we talk about this, I always feel like I have to come up with something or some new. So I was trying to do cool pledges that I was trying to,
be mindful in the park.
Yeah, go have my meals in the park. So yeah, I think I got off tracking my calories. Yeah, and I got off working I haven't been working out consistently. You know, my gym partner's kind of been taking advantage of the summer and getting out and stuff like that. So I think I just want to get back to just working out a little bit more consistently. I also the bike I was using to get around town. Yeah. I got a new bike, but that new bike isn't working. So I went and got another bike. And so I got to get that bike back and start just biking around, taking the kids to daycare with the bikes or like I was doing, So I think that's my goal for this week. Get the bikes, get my bike situation figured out and just get pedaling again. So that'll be my goal this week. So
great.
Check in on me.
I will. Hopefully you remember what the goals are.
Yeah.
Bikes.
Yeah. Bikes.
We'll remember bikes.
Bikes. And for you, calories
and hitting the gym.
Hitting the gym.
And a more positive mindset.
There it is.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Just remember you can do it. You can change your mindset about anything.
That's right. Yeah.
You can.
Yeah, you can.
It's your choice. Yeah. And follow us on social media and share it with your uncles. Yeah. And that's it. Just your uncles. Yeah. Maybe your nieces. Then that's it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
If there's something you want us to talk about or something, we're always looking for ideas for the show as well. So yeah, I was feeling a habits one. I feel like, it would be a good segue from this show because I think some of those habits that you work on help shape your mindset. I think we kind of touched on that. So I feel like we'll be doing a show on that. But if something that we're talking about kind of hit home for you or something that you want us to talk about, just drop a comment. We would love to see that. We've already seen that and we love just running with that stuff. So yeah, let us know.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.